Welcome to the Muskegon Museum of Art's virtual tour themed Art from Everywhere. This informative tour was created by Marianne, who was a docent at the Muskegon Museum of Art. Before we get started, I would like to give you a little information about the Muskegon Museum of Art. The MMA has been around since 1912 and was started by Charles Hackley. Hackley gave money to purchase pictures of the best kind, and now, over 4,000 artworks later, we have a gem of a museum here in our very own Muskegon. Today, we will be exploring a small selection of those artworks under the theme Art is from Everywhere, because art is indeed from all around the world. During our tour, I thought it would be fun to think of funny captions for each of the pieces we look at together. I will give you mine and then give you a chance to think of your own. Sounds good? Let's begin. The first artist we will look at is Deborah Butterfield. Deborah lives in Montana and spends her winters at her second home in Hawaii, and she is known for her large, charming horse sculptures. Deborah attended the University of California, where she received an art degree, and while her early sculptures were made from mud, clay, and sticks gathered from her property in Bozeman, Montana, she now crafts her horses from scrap metal and cast bronze. Whether she is working with found wood, scrap metal, or bronze, she carefully selects her materials for each piece. This is particularly evident in her scrap metal piece, like the one shown here called Blue Lily. Notice how graceful Blue Lily looks, from the shape of her head to her muscular hips, and if you look closely, you can see the various textures from the scrap metal working its way through the piece. How about the lines that are present? Curved, diagonal, thick, and thin? Take a moment to take it all in. Deborah says, "When I walk past piles of junk, I am inspired by the things I see." Who would have thought that junk could be created into such a beautiful sculpture? Now for my caption of Blue Lily. I hate cold, windy days. That wind just goes right through me. Now it's your turn to think of a caption. The second artist we will look at today is Camille Pissarro. Camille was a French artist and printmaker best known for his Impressionism painting en plein air. En plein air is the term for painting outdoors in the fresh air. These artists, many of whom were Impressionists, enjoyed painting outdoors to capture the colors made with the effects of natural light. And Impressionism, of course, is a style of French painting that emphasizes the effects of light and color rather than focusing on the exact realistic details. Camille focused on the rural landscapes and countryside in his artworks. In this painting of La Ferme, aka The Farm, we can see Camille using light and color to enhance the sky and greenery surrounding the woman and farmhouse. The colors, although there are many, appear blended rather than defined. This was the Impressionistic way. My caption of this piece is, "It's your turn. I'm tired of taking the goat for a walk." Now take a moment to think of your own caption. The third artist is Alfred Sisley. Sisley was a British man from a wealthy English family. Although he was born in Paris, France, he studied business in London before returning to Paris to devote his education and life to art. This piece is called La Seine à Saint-Mamas and is an oil painting of a river in France. And like the previous artists, Alfred also painted en plein air. He was a big fan of creating peaceful landscapes, many of which included water. And during his life, Alfred painted over 900 oil paintings. Let's take a closer look at La Cine à Saint Mamas. I'd like for you to answer these questions to yourself. Question number 1. Do you notice the various colors in the large tree? Question number 2. What colors do you see in the water? Question number 3. If you could touch this painting, do you think the texture would be smooth or rough? Question number 4. Is this a peaceful scene? Question number 5. What do you think the people in the boats are doing? Another caption. Does anyone want to go water skiing? Now you think of one. The final artist we will look at is Jacques van Cleef. Van Cleef was a Flemish painter in Antwerp, Belgium in the 1500s. Van Cleef was an artist known for his religious works and portraits of royalty. He was one of the first to introduce landscapes in the backgrounds of his paintings, and he used a lot of details throughout each of his paintings. This was quite typical of the Flemish artworks. In this painting, Saint Jerome in Penitence, we can see many details and symbols pointing to the life of Saint Jerome. Some of these symbols can be recognized in the way of a small altar with the crucifix, a rock in Saint Jerome's hand, a skull, and a lion. And in the background, we can see the city of Flanders. This is also a symbol. And while the altar, rock, skull, and lion all point to the Christian faith that Saint Jerome devoted his life to, the background alludes to the life of the artist by pointing to Flanders. In a way, it sort of joins the two worlds of the saint and the Flemish people together. Now for the final caption. I would hang up my clothes, but I don't have a hanger handy, so the ground will have to do. I'll give you a moment to think of yours. We hope you enjoyed this virtual MMA tour and have learned a little more about some of the artists and their works. Thanks again for joining us.